VFR1200. The bike everybody hates. Fuck that shit. I'm coming out. Yep. This is the bike everybody hates. It's not good enough. It's not fast enough. It's too heavy. Fuck you. Know what you're talking about, bro. You know one thing I've learned about bikes, yeah? You can read all the reviews you want. I suppose I have to say it now, so here's the sentence. You can have whatever opinion you want. It's 2015, man. Do whatever you want to do. However, I hate that statement. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You are not entitled to your fucking opinion, yeah? If you haven't even tried to find out the facts. Let me tell you this, yeah? When it comes to bikes, you can listen to all the reviewers you want. Unless you go out there and actually test ride one of these things yourself. Your opinion don't count for nothing to me. You've ridden one, then you can say whatever you want. It's shit, it's whatever, it's fantastic. And personally, this is just me personally, this is just my opinion. But I'm gonna find what you're saying more credible. Now I own a VFR1200. Here it is. So I'm gonna tell you, I listened to all the reviews. First of all, let's start off with what this bike is. When the first version of this bike came out, it was seen as something rule breaking. It was groundbreaking. It set new trends. It was fast without being unmanageable. It was capable without being boring. It was reliable. At the same time, it was sporty. It was, you could tour on it, you could commute on it, you could probably do a track day on it. It just hit all the benchmarks for a lot of riders at the time. And because it was so well received, these bikes that are pioneers, or these bikes that set benchmarks, it's always going to be hard to improve on an original. And so we came to the 800 VTEC, which a lot of people weren't happy with it, didn't like the way the power cut in, a bit too sporty for some. And then again, all you've got to do is look around London roads. A lot of people love that bike. A lot of people won't give that bike up for nobody. So then you have this bike now, the VFR12, which was meant to be, well, I'm not sure, because I didn't follow the marketing hype of this bike too much. What I did do was see this bike one day, and I just thought, I was tired of riding around on, well, I thought I'd had GSXRs, I've had Blades, I've ridden R1s, and I just thought to myself, am I gonna spend my whole biking life riding 1000cc inline fours? I mean, how boring is that? You know what I mean? You got this, here you have this freedom, this bike license. You finally graduate from riding, you know, a smaller capacity bike, mopeds or geared 125s. You finally get over that hump. And then all you're gonna do with it is ride around on the exact same bike for the next, what, 40 years? How boring is that? Granted, there's a reason that people ride inline fours. They're smooth. People know how the power comes in. People know what it feels like. They're pretty useful in town as well. They react. Quite predictable. I think a lot of the courier industry has practically survived off of the inline four-cylinder. So when it comes to biking, it's the go-to engine, isn't it? The inline four. You pick up an inline four, happy days. You start playing around with the twins, the singles. It could be all hit and miss, mate. It might be fantastic on a track, it might be fantastic on a back road. You start commuting with it in the wet, or, you know, in a very busy town, and you know, you read the forums, and as it's been told, I've never owned a twin before myself, but as you can tell, it's mixed. You know, some people won't live without the twin, some people love the twin. Anyway, enter the VFR1200F, which is a V4. Now that that piqued my interest because I know it's a slightly MotoGP derived engine. It's an engine that Honda seem to be very proud of. If people know anything about Hondas, then generally when it comes to engine reliability, so in step I, board of the inline 4, I see this VFR12, more relaxed riding style, bigger capacity than a 1000. There goes my stupid male ego again, bigger is better. And the V4, which intrigued me, the way that it fires, the way it sounds, really intrigued me. Let me tell you this, I took a test ride, my whole brain exploded. The way this thing, for me anyway, and I'm not gonna go on as if I'm some kind of Rossi, but I've taken R1s with this thing. I had, how would Valentino say, I had a great battle. I had a great battle around the park lane with a one R1, I think a 2010 model, and little bit of top end he's beating me, but anyway, great battle. And when it comes to offline, I always winning, something like that. A great battle. I had a good battle with an R1 one time, man. With this bike, you couldn't touch me. Now, what is it that drew me to this bike apart from that? It looks crazy. A lot of people are like, it looks ugly. Most of the public hate this bike. No, this is not where the VFR is meant to be. Why doesn't it have all the traction control goodies? Where's all the electronics packaging? Where's all the... Fuck all that shit. Where's all the free-stage rider? Fuck all that shit. You want a free-stage rider mode? There it is, right there. This noise is a free-stage rider mode. Yeah. When they're a free-stage rider mode, 1, 2, 3. Absolutely love it. So, where was I? What the fuck am I talking about anyway? Yeah, so for most people, this bike is too heavy. Now, I would say this bike is heavy. It's 250 plus. And I think that's wet. I'm not all dry. I can't even remember. This bike is heavy. When it comes to flicking from left to right, you're going to notice it over a 6. The same way you notice it over a foul, okay? But for me, what they've done is they've mounted this engine at a very low down at a 73-degree angle. And I tell you something, when you start moving with this bike, you don't feel any of that. If you read some of the not the magazine reviews, some of the owner reviews, they will tell you, man, if you want to make this bike go left and right, you're not going to put tons and tons of effort in. I've got some Pilot Road 3s on this. You know, the ones with the funny sipes in it and the little hole. It's got like a sipe and a hole. X-sipe, I think they call it. And I'm telling you, man, I had some Bridgestones on there. They were rubbish. BTO2s, I think they were. BTO1s? Can't remember. But they were rubbish. Put the Michelin on. Oh my gosh. Daytime and nighttime. That's how different it was. Bike handles different, bike grips different. 100 and what's the rear section on this? 190 or 200? I've forgotten all the specifications. I used to know them off the back of my hand, but who cares about specs? And see, that's another thing I want to come to with this bike. Sometimes you start number crunching. You start number crunching on the bike, right? And the numbers take over from what you should actually be looking at. You know, I'm always talking about the fact that GSXR 600, my favorite time on a bike. Most fun, most grins, smiling, sitting on the bike, bouncing up and down. Never had so much fun, not to this day, on a 600, right? It just, in London, it just done everything I wanted to do. I don't actually know why I didn't buy that bike over this, but, you know, might buy one in the future just for fun. It's just fun. Another reason this bike had some pretty terrible reviews, you look down here, you look there, you can see probably a hazard, a starter, better not touch that. Nothing much else. There is no electronics on this bike. This bike has ABS. This is a 2010 model. It's got ABS, and that's it. That's another reason this bike, I got drawn to this bike. I am not a big proponent of all this electronical stuff. The reason why that is because I've had my crashes. You see, on a road like this, I am not trying to squeeze no tenths out of this road. Fuck that. There's an island, there's a side road, there's a school up the road, there's about 4 or 5 side roads off this road. I'm not going to be bouncing off this rev limiter anytime soon. The ABS in this bike is sufficient to stop me, I'm telling you that now. I've had to do hard braking in the rain on this bike. I've had to do it all, and this is a hefty bike. For some people they say it's too heavy. I'm 5'8", about 92 kilograms, so I'm adding to the weight of the bike, and I don't feel it at all. And in terms of the power, trust me and please believe when I say to you that on these roads, and we are talking about roads, you see, I don't want to start talking about track, right? The majority of people, just like with cars, buy Porsches, they wouldn't even know how to calculate their lap time averages. So, you know, it's all skewed sometimes, you know, bikes with lap timers on them and stuff like that. I get it, but let's just face it, there is not queues and queues of people on a Sunday outside Donington, outside Brands Hatch, trying to beat their record from last week, okay? It's just not that. Most people buy their bikes to enjoy it on the road and might touch a track occasionally. So for me, I don't want a track focused weapon with a license plate on the back. That's a waste of my money, bro. I'm not gonna do that. If I'm gonna get a track bike, I'm gonna get something old, you know what I mean, take my time, enjoying the experience of getting suspension for it, setting it up nicely, doing it myself. I'm not gonna go to the showroom and buy a track weapon. Why? You can get a second-hand bike and build a track weapon for much less. For much less. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it for much less. Okay? So if I'm gonna spend hard-earned money, I want a road bike. I want a bike that, you know what? If my missus says to me, oh, she phones me up right now. If my wife phones me up right now, right? Help me. I've been kidnapped. Well, what's happened, honey? Some guys came and took me. I'm in Spain. They want a ransom. How much do they want, honey? They want £10,000. But you gotta come now. You gotta come right now. You gotta come within the next 48 hours. I can jump on this bitch right here. One rucksack, one sat nav, gone. That's what I want for my bike. I don't want to be like, oh, where did you say you was? I'm in Spain, honey. Well, that's gonna be a problem, honey, because you see, what I've got here is a track focus weapon. The suspension is really hard, and the seat is not too comfortable, and I wouldn't be happy going 20 miles down the road, let alone going from South London to Spain. I mean, I'm sorry, honey. You're gonna have to do what those Spanish guys say. My ass is, you know, much more important than your life. No. I don't want no track focused weapon on roads like this. VFR, very good bike. Now let me tell you this. I wouldn't say it's brilliant. It's just a very good bike. Out of 10, I'll give it an 8.5 to a 9. That will do me. I'll be honest with you. That will do me. Is it better than the bike I had previous, my Fireblade? To me, yes it is. Where it's not so good, suspension. I don't know what it is with certain companies. And I thought that I actually was advocating a bike company to someone the other day, saying that no, they fit good suspension to all the bikes in their range, and then justifying that their latest bike, I won't say the manufacturer, but they fitted rebound and preload with no compression. And when it comes to the sports bikes now, they get everything. I don't understand that. To me, this is one big thing where they fell down. The VFR is in a class of its own. It's meant to be almost a brand above, to me, the Blade. The Blade is iconic. The VFR is legendary, and they dropped the ball not giving this thing compression, rebound and preload. Just listen to the sound of this motherfucker, man. I'll be honest with you. Listen to what this motherfucker sounds like. You hear that on the overrun, pang, 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 grang. Woo! Oh man, I love it. I swear to God. I put a pipe on it, and that was it. I ain't done nothing else. The bike was painted prior to me owning it. It was taken to Manchester, painted by Dream Machine. They done a really good job on it. You don't get 2010 VFRs in black, not like this. The 2010 VFR didn't come in black. It wasn't until 2012. Another big problem that Honda done. I don't know why. When black is their most popular color for their bikes, they came out with a bike as important as the VFR, didn't have a black option. Absolutely stupid. And the black option they got now, nah, it's not as good as my black option, because on my one I have certain winglets and stuff on the side, and at the back here, where on the even on the 2012 one it's painted silver, and it breaks up the bike, but it doesn't break it up in a nice way. I'm gonna take some pictures of my bike against the VFR that they put out, and you'll see. Well, in my opinion, once again, my bike looks a lot better. And I've had people comment on the fact that my bike looks set apart from all the other VFRs. But yeah, man, that's my little take on the VFR 12. You gotta try this. That's what you gotta do, man. You gotta try it. Because this sound here, oh baby.